Intellectual Property is proudly brought to you by Adams & Adams, rooted in 100 years of excellence in intellectual property law.
Welcome to this episode of the Intellectual Property Show on Summit. Healthcare, a key sector of the SA economy, is currently under enormous stress from a cost and service delivery point of view, especially with government breathing down the necks of operators. With me in the studio tonight is Deon Lewis, CEO of XProcure, to talk about how this company is assisting in the growth and competitiveness of our healthcare sector. Good evening, Deon.
Good evening, Stefan. Thanks for the invitation.
Welcome to the show. Deon, just to start off with, what's happening in healthcare in South Africa? How are things different than the past?
Lots. I think the first main aspect that needs to be looked at is the healthcare industry is really regulated in comparison with other industries in this country, and therefore makes it obviously very difficult for operators to operate within that industry, but also it creates a lot of opportunities. And we've tried to capitalize on those as much as possible, especially in the last 3 years.
Is it both on the public side and the private side, or mostly on the private side?
Well, both.
Okay.
Both, yeah.
And what exactly does XProcure do?
Well, XProcure is a procurement software application that is used in pharmacy. So pharmacies use our software to procure their stock from wholesalers and distributors into the pharmacy. Clients like Dis-Chem, Clicks, all the big corporates, including many independent pharmacies, about 53% market share in South Africa.
And from your company's point of view, is it very competitive? Other operators in the same niche as yourselves?
There are other operators. In fact, there was a company that was doing exactly what we do before we actually started our business in 2001. So yes, there is some competition. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I would imagine that in a competitiveness space, the fact that it's a very cost-driven environment, your systems are integral to the efficiency as well as the cost savings on your client's behalf. How exactly does it work?
Yeah, absolutely. We've, as one of the key factors in terms of innovating our product, we've tried to obviously entrench the software as much as possible into the pharmacy. So not only does it handle all the specific requirements of the pharmacy procurement process, but we also integrate the software into the pharmacy's existing stock and point of sale and dispensing systems to make it easier for them to operate it.
And that interfaces back to the suppliers where everything starts off as well?
Absolutely. So the software, in fact, allows the pharmacist to create an order and to compare pricing between different wholesalers, place the order electronically through our software on the wholesaler or distributor, and we will then pass an answer back electronically to the pharmacy from the wholesaler whether the stock will be procured or not.
And the system itself, do you make it available? Do I download the software? Is it made available over the internet? How do I access your software?
No, actually, it's a thick client application, a Delphi application that is installed on a computer in the pharmacy dispensary that we maintain. Obviously, reasons for that: bandwidth in this country, not what it's supposed to be. But the software has been developed to port it onto a web platform as soon as there's enough bandwidth available in pharmacy to operate it.
When you talk about software, a lot of the discussions about piracy, people stealing source code and so forth. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, you have to have strict measures and SOPs, standard operating procedures in place to protect that, not only in terms of backups and offsite storage, but also to book the software out, to effectively work on it. The software developer has to go through a process of accessing that software, working on it, and then basically booking it back into a library. So you get software applications that also allow you to manage that process. Very important.
Oh. And where would you say is the biggest risk from an IP point of view? Is it in terms of protecting your intellectual capital, intellectual assets against your employees, or is the threat from the customers maybe taking your software and replicating it or duplicating it?
Yeah, look, I think the threat is obviously from your competitors in our space. However, it is important to have all measures in place. I mean, you have to constantly innovate. to stay ahead of the pack. You have to make sure that the software, although it can be copied, it can't be taken apart and analyzed. So there's different ways and means of doing it. Software, it's far more difficult than any other product, if that answers the question.
Okay, so you're quite an advanced, if you want to say, I mean, the one strategy could be that you develop the software and now it's there, it's out in the open, people can look at it, try and test it, see how it works and so forth. Other strategy that you're taking is to say, no, we're going to stay ahead of the pack, keep on innovating, make sure that people have to follow us, and thereby ensure that you safeguard your thinking.
No, absolutely. With software, it's easy to copy functionality. You walk into a pharmacy, you look at a competitive product, understand the functionality, and you can develop it. So it's very easy to copy it. Therefore, you have to innovate. You have to stay ahead of the pack.
Any specific lessons that you've learned in the years that you've been doing this, from an IP point of view?
Yeah, plenty. I think the most important one, sorry that I'm going back to it now, but is innovation. It is very, very important to first of all understand your industry and thoroughly understand it. Understand your client, listen to your client. We've built functionality into our product that allows us to get constant feedback from our client, that we analyze on a weekly basis and use that information to strategize innovation in the product and then release new versions of the software. That's one component that's, I think, very important and a very big lesson that we've learned.
Okay. Within the context of your brand, for example, XProcure, how do you want to see yourselves going into the future? If I'm into the pharmaceutical business, do I go and look for XProcure because I saw it somewhere else? How strong is the element of branding?
Very strong. Look, we're in a fortunate position now where the software has matured a lot, and we're in the initial phase of our business life cycle. We had to go out and find the business. Although we're still doing that, we have a lot of referral business now. We have a lot of clients that come to us, through access on the internet, through our website, through various other elements, through word of mouth, through PR that we do all the time. On success stories. There's different ways and means. What we're doing going forward, just to answer the other question, is obviously we won't only stay in the pharmaceutical industry. This product has been developed to take it into other industries, and we have earmarked one specific industry that we will be looking at.
Okay. As a very last question, you spoke about the healthcare sector being, on the one side, very regulated, a lot of competition and so forth, but that opens up new opportunities. Just to wrap up, where do you see the opportunities going forward in the current situation now?
Well, if you look at what we do and what the software does in the pharmacy, that's only a small element of really where XProcure derives its revenue from. The biggest component of our revenue contribution is from advertising. So what we've done is we developed the product that we could take advantage of industry regulation changes where the pharmaceutical drug manufacturer is not allowed to advertise to the end user, but to the pharmacist. So we use the software at the point when the pharmacist is making a buying decision, what to buy and where to buy, to advertise competitor products to him on our system, on an electronic format.
Create a procurement platform.
Correct.
From that point of view.
So that's just one example.
Okay. Thank you very much, Deon. Thanks for joining me in the studio today.
It's only a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks. That's all we have time for tonight. Until next time, from me, Stefan Lamprecht. It's good evening.
Intellectual Property was proudly brought to you by Adams and Adams, rooted in 100 years of excellence in intellectual property law.